Imagine that it's the end of a workday on a Friday and it's been a really long week. You've gotten yelled at by your boss, you had a really rude customer call in, your coworkers have been slacking all week, and you finally got home and you just want to blow off some steam and relax. You want to have a couple drinks. You deserve it, right? What if this becomes an end of week habit? Do you think that eventually you would correlate the bad and rough days with just drinking it away? Can you see how this coping mechanism could potentially result in using alcohol as a crutch to get through each day? To help those who get caught in this cycle and suffer from alcohol addiction, Alcoholics Anonymous, also called AA, was created. The majority of Americans consume alcohol at least one time in their life. And according to the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics, 6.7% of these Americans will develop an alcohol use disorder. Alcoholism is considered to be a medical condition, but there are treatments, such as AA, to help those who suffer from this disease. AA is said to be founded by two men who struggled with alcohol abuse. But the woman who introduced these two men to one another and also co-founded AA was Henrietta Buckler Seiberling. I first learned about Henrietta Seiberling from a coworker after joining him at an AA meeting as a supporter. During this meeting, I witnessed and felt hope in the room as members openly shared their stories and struggles, knowing that they wouldn't be judged, but they would be supported and uplifted by fellow recovering alcoholics. Afterwards, I asked him about his experiences in AA, and this is when he went into the origin of AA. I was intrigued that it originated here in Akron, Ohio, but also that it was co-founded by a woman. After this, I started researching and learning more about Henrietta's story. Now let me introduce you to Henrietta Buckler Seiberling and how she's changed the lives of many alcoholics since 1935. Henrietta was born in Kentucky in 1888. She was a member of the Oxford Group. As stated in a passage from Akron Women's History on the University of Akron's website, the Oxford Group is a Christian fellowship that believes it's a responsibility of Christians to solve social problems. Henrietta resided in Akron, Ohio with her husband, John Fred Seiberling. According to the historical facts on Stan Hewitt's website, the Seiberlings were a prominent family in Akron who was most known for their fortune in Akron's rubber industry, the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. Henrietta and Fred married Stan Hewitt in the music room on October 11th, 1917. This is where we go into how Henrietta uses the guidance from God to help her get through things. Because the Oxford Group focused more on the relationship with God rather than religious works, Henrietta believed that God would help guide her in the direction to help others. Henrietta's husband recorded a conversation that he had with her concerning the origin of AA, and this is where I found the following information. Henrietta heard that another member of the Oxford Group named Dr. Bob Smith, also known as Dr. Bob, was potentially struggling with a drinking problem. She decided to gather group members and hold a meeting where Dr. Bob then openly confessed to his addiction. That's when Henrietta called upon God for guidance to help Dr. Bob. According to a passage in Akron Women's History on the Akron U website, this is what led Henrietta to help organize the group's original alcoholic squad. Henrietta introduced Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob Smith, also known as Dr. Bob. After Dr. Bob spoke his truth, his story has been shared around the Oxford Group, and that's where Bill Wilson comes into the story. Bill was also a member of the Oxford Group and had been sober for 5 months when he came to Akron on a business trip. Bill's trip didn't go as planned. This is where he almost relapsed because a business deal fell through. As being a member of the Oxford group, he decided to reach out to God for guidance. He stumbled upon Henrietta's phone number and decided to give her a call. Bill immediately told Henrietta that he was an alcoholic. At this moment, Henrietta immediately thought to get Bill and Dr. Bob together. That's when Henrietta produced a plan to have Bill stay here in Akron, Ohio with Dr. Bob. In Henrietta's transcript, she said that she went on to hold Wednesday night meetings with Bill and Dr. Bob. These meetings grew and eventually moved to an actual location where other alcoholics, locals, people from other cities, and even other states would come together and talk about their struggles with alcohol. The Start and Growth of AA says that after these meetings grew and produced about 100 sober alcoholics, a textbook was written by Bill and fellow group members called Alcoholics Anonymous. Here's the book. The book was based on spirituality beliefs, and that's where the name Alcoholics Anonymous, also known as AA, originated. Now, isn't it cool that a woman could get two grown men to come together and eventually create a meeting group that would become a worldwide organization known as Alcoholics Anonymous? I hope that learning about Henrietta's hand in the organization of AA has shown that women can help change lives too. I hope that you see how important it is that she helped create a safe space for addicts to come together through support and have a successful road to recovery. In my intro, I had you imagine your life at the end of a long work week. Could you see how easily and how quickly that those behaviors could snowball into an addiction? Though you and I may never know firsthand what it's like to be an addict, whether it's with food or drugs or alcohol, I think that we can imagine the severity of this disease and the importance of having AA available to those who do suffer from addiction. If you ever had a loved one or a friend of a friend who has struggled with addiction, I hope that you help this person by pointing them in a positive direction such as AA. It's an effective way to become sober and get back to having a healthy, successful, and meaningful lifestyle. So let's do our best to keep Henrietta's legacy going by helping to reduce what the alcohol abuse statistics say is 141,000 Americans that die each year.